Hey guys, Paul Danner here at Latour's Auto, working on an old school 1994 Chevy Corvette with a misfire complaint. It has had new distributor and water pump because the water pump sits in front of the distributor. Plug wires, cap, rotor, plugs. It came in with this misfire and it is no different after that those components were replaced. At least that's what I'm told. I started it briefly. It has a miss. Listen to it. Constant miss. Feels like maybe more than one cylinder. So this year car, this 94 with a misfire, they don't have misfire monitors. So scan data is not really going to help us. I did put the scan tool on it as it does have an OBD2 data link connector. Some of the 94, 95 model year cars had that, even though it's not OBD2 compliant. So no misfire monitors. As you can see, there are no trouble codes in memory. So with a hard misfire like this, I like to do a cylinder drop test first. That's what I want to do. Should be able to do it at the fuel injector. So let's try that. I don't like that the cooling fans are running all the time. That's bothersome. When I started, this cap was laying right here. So I don't know if maybe Pete was doing something. This coolant bottle's low. So I don't like that. This model year is a sequential injection system. You're not gonna have a shorted fuel injector on a sequential system pull everything down. On the group fired ones, you can. My suspicions of shorted injector, I'm not sure this model year has that, but let's do our drop test. Just listen. Tough with that fan running. I didn't really feel a change at all on that one. That one's good. No change on that one. This is tough. Like 3 of them. That cooling fan running all the time is really interfering. That one changed. That one changed. That one changed. All 4 on this side changed. No change. That one changed. Starting to die on me. Dude, it's like hardly running. It won't rev at all. This is gonna be more than just a misfire. No change on this one. So these 2, kind of tough to tell on this one. It's like these 3. But then also, it doesn't rev. Oh, there it is. We do this at a higher RPM. Yeah, I got an injector circuit code now, of course. Just want to see what functional tests if I have. No, I don't have any output controls. I was going to raise the idle speed. Nothing. I had an RPM drop when I first unplugged it, then when I plugged it back in, it didn't make a difference. That's because I think the driver is actually shutting down when I'm doing this. So here, RPM pick back up. Now listen. That one's hitting. About time that cooling fan shut off. No change. Definitely these 2. This one's questionable. All right, let's take a look at these injector patterns real quick. It's real easy to do, just to be sure. It doesn't matter if I go on the feed or the control. And it looks like a decent fuel injector pattern. About 1.2 amps. Something I didn't share with you guys is I did a real quick clear flood crank to listen to it, and I didn't hear a compression problem. We'll do that too. Yeah, these look good. I really expected to see shorted injectors. These all look pretty damn good. Yes, sir. Okay, so injectors are not my concern. I mean, flow rate is for sure, but just want to see if when I unplug this and then plug it back in, just curious why the RPM drop test was acting that way. So no current flow. As soon as I plug it back in, I should have current flow, and I don't. Okay, good. That explains why when I plugged it back in, RPM didn't immediately rise, because you can see still I have no injector pattern. Watch, it's gonna come back in a second. Maybe when I rev it. Still no injector pattern there. Very odd on this model year for it to do that. There we go, injector's back. So yeah, whenever I'm unplugging them, the drivers are shutting off, and they're not coming back right away. So when I unplug it and plug it back in, and how I normally do my RPM drop test with injectors, where I'm listening, where it's like high, low as I'm unplugging it, you guys are missing it because we only get the initial RPM drop, and then when I'm plugging it back in, it's not bringing it back because the driver's shutting down. But I still am confident, at least in these two guys right here, it should be 2, 4, 6, 8, so 2 and 6. This one's still a maybe for me. I'm gonna unplug this one more time. Okay, that one did change. And as you can see, let me put this amp clamp on here. No injector pulse, because I unplugged it, rev it a couple times. Come on, come back. Yeah, this makes this RPM drop difficult, the way these injectors are acting. This one though, listen, number 6. Oh, that one did. I heard a change on that one. But the number 2 sucks the cooling fan's running. We'll wait till that shuts off. Yeah, I mean, I already showed it. I want to focus on ignition now. I'm going to grab an ignition lead. Just using a coil unplug probe here. I can just go on each plug wire one at a time. I'm really focused on the number 2. I really want to get closer to the distributor. Let's go on the coil wire. This is my ignition coil right here. Yeah, let's go with the coil wire. Just kind of lay that there. So I'm interested in a snap throttle. Pause that, zoom out. Just want to make sure we don't have possibly 2 plug wires that have been reversed. And so what I'm looking for is during the snap throttle, you can see the areas where it's hot, the high KVs in here. That's what I'm interested in. But what we should be seeing is all 8 cylinders jumping high, and we have at least 2 that are not. These 2 guys right here, I wonder what the firing order is. I wonder if 2 and 6 are next to each other in the firing order. Wait, let me see if I have info here. 18436 572. I'm gonna try it again. Pause, zoom out. I have 2 that aren't. This one and this one. They're not right next to each other. I don't know what's what because I only have 1 channel. I could sync it, but I'd need another ignition probe to do that. I really feel like I want to try swapping plug wires for 2 and 6. All right, let's try something else. The reason I'm going to the coil and not the plug wires is the signal's so much poorer the further away you get from the coil. And this is not an ideal probe for this. Like, I can't rely on some snap throttle testing if I can't just get a good signal on the 1 plug wire, and I really can't. Here, I'll let you listen to it. This is not a compression problem. This is probably gonna be ignition. It's possibly built into it. Possibly. Just pedal to the floor. cranking it over. It should cut injection pulse in this year. Did you hear it?
Do it again.
I don't think so. My misfire went away. It was missing really bad. I'll unplug this injector again. This is number 2. Yeah. Number 6. That one's changed. So it's just the number 2. It's not going to be reversed plug wires then. I don't have my other ignition adapters with me. This is the only one I got. I'm just laying this on the plug wire or the coil itself. Pick it up there. That's all 8 cylinders. I don't see anything there. Let's change this to a 10 volt. Raise our trigger level, so we'll just kind of hit it on a snap. It was a lot worse when it was cold, wasn't it? It was real bad. I need my firing order, man. I need a sync in here because then I could really focus on. I don't like that one's not increasing, but I don't know what cylinder that is. I'm not seeing any secondary type problems other than on the snap. I got really no increase in kV on that one. Count that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, back to 1. So same cylinder here, same cylinder here. No increase in kV on the snap, which is a suggestion of a compression problem, or that spark is not firing in the cylinder. When I cranked it, it sounded okay. I think I might want to do a crank again and get the waveform on there. I'm just on the positive battery cable. And we want to be on a 40 volt or 40 amp, 10 MV/A. Head over to the floor. It has kind of a little bit of an up-down type sound to it, but these all look pretty decent. Like nothing that would be no compression. So now I'm concerned about the spark even getting to that cylinder. I don't care that it's all new, it doesn't matter. I want to check the spark on this cylinder. I just want to make sure it's even there. I hear it. Kind of tough to see, but yeah. That's like 20,000, 30,000. Nothing wrong with that spark, man. Nothing wrong with that. A couple things I'm thinking about is injector flow was never verified, even though it smells rich out of the exhaust like a smell gas. But injector flow, head gasket potential, also intake manifold gasket, internal manifold gasket leak. Those are all still on the table. We know electrically the injectors aren't shorted. We know compression wise it looks okay. The snap throttle test that I was doing is suggesting something with the secondary ignition, but they weren't really great pictures and I couldn't sync it. Felt like the misfire got better as it warmed up. That can be head gasket, that can be manifold gasket. It looks awfully clean, doesn't it? I mean, it's brand new. It's not, fuel soaked or anything like that, which is kind of surprising. I see nothing other than a nice clean plug. Typically with a misfire like what we're dealing with, we would have fuel on that. After seeing how clean that plug was, I think my next step is I'm gonna do a quick injector flow test here. Make sure we have actually fuel flowing out of that. I know some of you are thinking, well, did it have a pintle hump? Well, if you saw those injectors, they were noisy. It's gonna be tough to pick out a pintle hump in those patterns. So I'm not worried about that. Some of you are gonna have questions on that kV test I did, the snap throttle test. Part of that, the weakness of that test for me right now is I didn't have a sync and it's tough to get good patterns. So we're just going to disregard that for the time being, because I did suggest that suggested a compression problem or the spark was never firing in the cylinder. I don't think that is the case any longer. Ooh, that's fuel smells bad. That's an old varnish smell and fuel. Wonder how old this gas is.
Sounds like the gas I put in my mower.
Yeah, smells like couple-year-old gasoline. Watch your pressure gauge. I'm just cycling the key just to get my pressures up. This has 6 of 24 stickers on it, but that doesn't mean everything. Now we'll focus on this guy. These are known for sticking injectors. Shit, I didn't even consider that.
Say that again, like chili candle.
I said, shit. This.
That's not what I meant.
I said, shit. These are known for sticking injectors. And as I smell the old gas, I'm remembering now these old. I think this is the Maltec 2s. The Maltec 1s would short. The Maltec 2s would stick closed. This might just be stuck closed injector here. Well, we're about to find out. So just gonna put this timer tool on here and gotta connect it to a battery source. We'll go right to the back of the alternator and then ground. All right, ready? Yep. So not stuck closed. Let's we'll compare that to the injector next to it. Let me start this real quick. What's our pressure at? 40. Let's do it again. Down to about 35. Okay, let's see what this one does. Start it and shut it off, because that climbed on its own just from pressure. That was significant. I'm gonna do this one again. That went down to like, what, 33? That's about the same. Okay. I know the injector fires. I'm gonna do a brake torque. I just want to see if I can still feel the misfire. It's like, it's not really missing anymore. Yes, it is. That's a single cylinder miss still. Yeah, it's still there. Not even close to what it was when we started though, which is really odd. Really odd. I'm gonna look at some data, because we have the ability to look at some. So when I mentioned internal vacuum leak, I was looking at maybe the IAC counts. IAC position is 58, so nothing crazy there. Typically you see a lower count, although this is a mass airflow engine. I think it has a MAF. Yeah, it has a MAF and a MAP. So can't really rely on high idle, low idle. Typically a MAP engine will idle high, a mass airflow engine will idle low, but this has both, and so that test isn't going to help us much looking at IAC position to gauge internal vacuum leak. I don't like the old gas, but I know the injector's firing. Pretty sure it's still our number 2 that has no contribution. Left and right INT on this, that's integrator. That's your short-term fuel trim. 128 is 0, so we're right around that 128 number. And then our block learn, left block learn, right block learn, left block learn, that's your long-term fuel trim, 128 being 0, so we're really, really close on our fuel trims. it's not missing anymore. Feels like it is on a brake torque. Can't really feel it. I'm just trying to think what test I want to do next. I really wish I could get a good secondary ignition waveform from this. This would be ideal, but at the plug wire itself, I'm just not getting good patterns, like not really a good usable pattern. So that's one I'd like to revisit. What else could I do? Head gasket. I really feel like this needs to have the block test done to it. I don't have my chemical kit here, I don't think. I really want to do a block test to make sure I don't have a head gasket problem. We can still do our internal vacuum leak test if I can get to the PCV. Let's see if I can do that. That's probably my easiest next step. I'm not going to be able to do the PCVs here, and that's rock hard. Like, you pinch that off or take it off, that's just going to end up killing that. Can't really do the internal vacuum leak test I want to do without damaging this tube. It's rock hard. If I touch it, it's going to break. Like, it's rock hard. And that's an angled tube that we're not going to have. That's a special order part. So I'm going to hold off on the internal vacuum leak test. For those of you that have been following along, internal vacuum leaks, they can happen to where you have an intake on a V-type engine. You have like the manifold gasket, let's say down inside, splits and pulls from the crankcase into that cylinder, makes that cylinder run ultra lean, and it will give you a single cylinder misfire. I have some lessons on that. I have some case studies on that, but I'm gonna hold off on that direction just because of how brittle that hose is. It just involves isolating the PCV system and then checking for vacuum on the dipstick tube. I mean, at idle, it's really not missing. I'm gonna unplug this injector and listen. It did drop. I wanna work smart and not hard. If I'm working in the field right now, I'm gonna let this sit and I'm gonna go work on some other cars, because I wanna check this again cold. It missed real bad cold. At one point, I could hardly rev it, if you guys remember. Although, what I didn't realize as I was unplugging injectors, the computer wasn't bringing the drivers back on initially, so now I had multiple cylinders that were misfiring from the injectors being unplugged and plugged back in. And then all of a sudden it came back, so that kind of matches that, but it was misfiring so bad when it was cold. I was convinced that this was gonna be super straightforward diagnostic, and it's not. And again, if I'm in the field, I'm gonna step away for a few, let it cool off, come back to it, because one of the first things that I want to check is manifold gasket. Now, it's got old fuel in it, yes, but I had at least 2 cylinders that weren't contributing on that bank when I did my RPM drop test. And that was difficult to do because of the way the drivers were reacting. So what do we do, Caleb? Do we come back? Do we wrap it up? Let it cool off?
I mean, you can pause for a bit, come back. That's cool.
No, I mean, it's late in the day. Like, it's way too hot. Like, it needs to sit for a couple hours, minimum.
Come back tomorrow.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
We come back and before we even start it, we do a smoke test on this intake and see if we got smoke pouring out of that side of the manifold. Again, with this being a mass airflow engine, right? And with it also having a MAP sensor, we can't rely on high idle, low idle conditions because it's got both. And we also can't rely on IAC position, which is idle air control, because it has both. IAC counts can be high with a vacuum leak. IAC counts can be low with a vacuum leak. And depending on the design of the systems, whether it be MAP or mass airflow, is what dictates that. But when you have both, these can have characteristics for both. So can't use the IAC counts. If I could, we could maybe rule out vacuum leak, but not necessarily, because vacuum leaks seal up when it's a manifold gasket. Those vacuum leaks can seal up when it gets hot. I think the wisest thing for us to do is to tool up and come back, because I can also get my block tester from the house. We can do that test tomorrow. So first thing, with it cold, smoke test and a block test. Now block test, we'll probably run it for a while for that, but cold engine tests I want to do on this, and I need it to sit. So that's the plan. We're going to wrap up. We're going to come back when it's cold.